Yeah.
All right, we are live
Hi.
and up and running. So, welcome everyone back to the Shelf Life Show presented by the Genesis Company. If you are new here joining us, the Genesis Company is a full service retail brokerage and e commerce agency that helps CPG brands grow in today's retail environment, whether that's at Target or Walmart or what we're going to talk all about today, Amazon and e commerce in general. We manage a little over 400 brands. We drive a little more than $4 billion in retail sales. And if you've ever bought anything at Target, you have probably bought something that we rep at some point. So we are here on the Shelf Life Show, giving back what we have learned with over 30 years of experience in this game. And we are super, super excited to have Iram join us today from our partner at the Canopy team to talk about Amazon's Vine program. How to win. What do you need to know? How do you win? And how do you really set your brand up for success or launch a new product and have a ton of success getting reviews to your page quickly? Because reviews is the fuel that fuels Amazon working. So, Iram, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi. Welcome.
And Jen and Chris are with me as well, managing partners at the Genesis Company. Thank you both for being here again, because you're really the brains behind ecom here. I'm just the not very pretty face talking into the camera. Why don't we, Iram, can you do me just like a 30-second minute favor? Give us a little background on you, what you do at Canopy, and we'll go there.
Yes. So I'm Aram. I'm Chief Partnerships Officer at Canopy. I manage two sides of the house. One is the Partner Success team, which I'm very proud of, and a new venture with business development. So I work with some of the largest brands selling on Amazon, but on top of that, I've been involved in brand launches for the last 5 years. So I love talking about Amazon Vine. I've had this conversation many times over, so I'm so excited to share it with everyone watching.
That is so exciting because I know Vine's really, really important, and I know there's so many questions out there. So I think this is going to be great. If you're new to Amazon, if you're new to Vine, stay tuned. Or if you're watching this in the future and we're not live when you're watching and you have questions, please shoot us a note. If you are with us now on LinkedIn or on YouTube and you have questions as we go, Tiana is moderating for us and we'll get that over to us to answer. We didn't do this 2 weeks ago. Jen or Chris, either one of you, can you just explain how we work, Genesis, Canopy? Why are we all together here on these lives?
Yeah, we came together with Canopy several years ago, actually, because, on the Genesis side, we have so much capability around direct to consumer and retail placement. And we really wanted to add in Amazon capability as well for our clients. That way we'd have the ability to manage all of the channels holistically. And so we kind of thought it was disingenuous to just say, we're going to be an Amazon agency and we're going to be the best in the country. And so we searched for probably a year, interviewing and getting to know many different Amazon agencies. And when we really met with Canopy and started to go down the road with them, it was just a really natural fit for the people, the process, the capabilities. So we formed a strategic partnership now with Canopy as kind of the Amazon arm, we think of it. So with clients, now you get all the capabilities of Canopy on the advertising side, the support side, customer service. But you also get all the capabilities of Genesis, and that's a lot on the creative side and data analytics and all that area. So we've just got a really strong program on Amazon.
I love it. Thank you for clearing that up. I think that 2 weeks ago when we had Corey on, we had a couple questions saying, I don't understand this. So cool. Okay. Intros aside, let's get into the meat of what we want to talk about today. Can you, Iram, start us off with high level basics on how do you introduce Vine to somebody brand new on Amazon? What is it and why do they need to care?
So if you're new to Amazon, it's a must actually. So Amazon has this program, which is pretty amazing for new sellers and sellers with new products, where they have their own reviewers called the Vine Voice. And you would, once you're all set up in Amazon, have some inventory in there, you are able to send in free units. So you'd use up some of your inventory to these Vine Voice reviewers, and they would leave honest and non-biased reviews.
And okay. So you're sending free products.
Yes.
And in return, you are having people review the product and go onto Amazon. And it's because you cannot leave a review on Amazon unless you actually are a purchaser, correct?
No, you actually could leave a review for any product. However, Amazon does track it. So if they notice that there's just an abundant amount of reviews and there's only been 3 orders, they'd probably lock you in. Where you can so it is open, but eventually they do track that. So you can't manipulate the system.
And so using Vine is like a verified purchase, like they legitimately.
It's verified. Okay. Yeah, it's more of a verified way for you to grow reviews. Amazon, you want to get into Amazon's A9 algorithm. So in order to get into that algorithm and start showing up in organic ranking, reviews count. So you want to launch, you want to have some reviews. The Amazon customer really cares about reading that review. I'm sure you're a shopper.
Yeah.
When you shop on Amazon, are you reading those reviews?
100%.
Yes.
And
I think there's a stat out there that's 90% of people read the reviews.
Yes. Yeah, and one thing though, it used to be by invitation only. It's not. It's open to anyone. You have to be brand registered. You have to have inventory. The product has to be Amazon FBA, so it can't be fulfilled by merchant. But it's open to anyone who wants more reviews, as long as their product it has less than 30 reviews.
So Vine is open to all brands as long as you're FBA and you have product. And you are going to take whatever your product is, and it's going to ship to a Vine reviewer. Yes. How do you get to pick, like,
no,
I'm a food product, I want it to go to food reviewers, or it just goes to anybody?
That would be lovely if that was possible, but no, Amazon chooses their own, which reviewer they send, and their Vine Voice reviewers.
How many Vine Voice reviewers are there? Just an idea of the universe.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So, okay. But they're vetted a little bit by Amazon?
From what I understand, they are vetted by Amazon. They're chosen on their review ranking to make sure that they give high quality feedback. How they do that ranking, I have no idea, but that's within Amazon's internal system.
Okay, so I'm a new brand. I have less than 30 reviews because that's the threshold.
Yes.
I'm going to send product to Vine.
Yes.
They're going to review. They're going to give a review on my page, and it shows up as Vine reviewer.
It shows up as a Vine reviewer. So the user who's reading those reviews is aware that it was for a free product.
And then it's on your page, and good, bad, or indifferent.
It could be good, it could be bad, but it's supposed to be non-biased, yes.
And so you had said a couple minutes ago, if you're new, this is kind of a mandatory thing. Like you really
mandatory. Yeah, the customer, if you're competing with all those other products out there that have thousands of reviews and you show up 0, that consumer, you have a low chance of that consumer buying your product.
Yeah, that's the thing, Iram, that's so crazy is so many people will put the time in to get the title right, get the keywords right. Mm-hmm. They do a good job on the bullets, get, image carousel up with infographics and lifestyles, maybe A+ content. But then a lot of times they just don't have a strategy for reviews.
Correct.
And Vine is the place to start because it's really inexpensive.
Yeah.
You can get 30 reviews. And it's just like something people actually overlook, but it's super easy to facilitate and and it's inexpensive.
Yeah, and on March 2025 this year, a couple months ago, they actually changed it. So if you just want to send in 2 units, it's actually free. So if you just want to get a couple reviews in just to have something up, it's for free. And they have it on a tier program now. So if you want to enroll 3 to 10 units that you want to send in for review, it's $75. Or if you want to do 11 to 30 units, it's now $200. So before it used to be just a flat 200 and you could send up to 30 units. But now they have it in a tier system, which is great because if you just wanted to get a couple reviews in, at least you could use the free option. And it is on a parent level.
What does that mean?
So it's they call it on Amazon parent child. So if there's variants or if there's a color blue or a color large, it'll go on the top parent.
And that $200 is just a flat fee, or is that per item?
Yeah.
No, it's not per item though. It's just a flat.
It's just one-time fee to use it for ASIN.
That's the beauty of it, because if you look at other review services, like outside of Amazon, you're trying to get reviews, those you're paying for the sample. Obviously you're paying for the shipping. You have to pay like $30 or $40 per review. It's actually pretty expensive to get reviews. But with Vine, it's $200 for up to 30 reviews, and you're good to go.
Do you see any sort of brands that should not be using Vine to kickstart their reviews?
Yes. And I think, Chris, we came across one. So if I wouldn't recommend it if you're selling, let's say, a golf cart, because at a certain price point, you don't want to be giving reviews out for $1,000 product. So it has to make sense, right? We have furniture sellers. They're not going to join the Vine program and give out a bunch of free couches. The margins have to be there. So it does have to make sense from a price point perspective.
So for high ticket items that cost a lot of money to give away for free, Vine's probably not the thing for you.
Not the best route for you, no. I mean, you're welcome to do it, and lucky for the reviewer, but it's not a common theme.
I had heard, help me understand this part. I had heard at one point that the product is quote unquote free for the Vine reviewer. Like they're getting free product, but they're only allocated a certain budget to begin with. Have you heard this?
No, I have not. I don't know much about the Vine voice reviewers.
So this was a year and a half ago, and it could have changed. So I may be wrong, but it was, think of the Vine reviewers that have a budget that they get to spend.
Yes.
Because you get Vine reviews sometimes where they complain about the price, and it never makes sense. Like, why would a Vine reviewer that's getting free products say this product's priced
on the pricing?
But it's because it took away a chunk of their allocation that they get to spend on free stuff or review.
Yeah.
And they get frustrated if it took a chunk of that and they didn't like the product. Has anyone else heard that before, or did I just make that up?
It could be. I have not heard that. However, Amazon moves fast and they change things quickly. So it might have been the case a year and a half ago. It might not be the case today. They might work with a budget.
Okay. So I need to check on that. So, all right. You're saying high ticket items, not necessarily that Vine doesn't work. Like it certainly can work still the same way. It's just you're sending out expensive product as a brand owner.
Yes.
To get one review. Is it worth it? Really is what you need to figure out.
Yes. It doesn't work for your margins.
Are there any other brands or categories where you're like, I would stay away from Vine?
Off the top of my head, for me, I look at the price point and the size of the packaging. I think there might be limitations on certain product categories. I'm not sure if you can for tobacco-related products. So there are probably categories that would have some restrictions. I'm not fully aware of all of them.
Okay. Yeah, I think the other thing, though, that's interesting about Vine, in order to get you a fast start, you got to try to use the social proof aspect of it as a growth lever. So get some of those early reviews coming in. And then number one, really pay attention to what the people are saying, because they really are honest reviews. So you might learn something about the customer experience or the product that you want to then use in your marketing materials. You might want to use those reviews in ads or on your site or something like that. So you can actually get more out of the reviews than just the star rating and the quantity that show up on the page is actually just the information that comes across from them.
And then one other thing too, I would just make sure that your PDP pages are ready and really fully optimized before you launch the Vine program, so that, you know, these people are getting your product. They want to be able to know what it's about. And so make sure that you have that really, really great content and everything's fully optimized too.
Yeah.
So if Jen, if I'm hearing you right, if again, this is more catered towards newer folks, right? Because they don't have reviews. How do I know that the page is like, it's ready? Like, is there a way to look at conversions or click-through rates, or is there some metric that you can track as a seller in Seller Center on, like, okay, my page seems like it's okay, like I can start really trying to drive traffic here?
Well, I think it goes first to like the PDP page. Like, are you utilizing the image carousels? Do you have A+ content and your brand story? Is it like, are you keyword optimized in the title and in the bullets? Making sure you're doing that kind of groundwork first to make sure that you have a really great listing before you start sending out free samples and products.
Yeah, you'd have to follow best practices on Amazon. There isn't a score that tells you like, hey, your picture is a 78% score. Do it better. It's not. You just have to know the best practices and do research.
Or work with a group like us.
Yeah, right.
You know, Matt, the thing that's interesting is reviews are trusted like a recommendation from a friend. You know, like people highly trust the reviews. And there's really 4 criteria of reviews that people put a lot of weight on. And that is the quantity, the star rating, the recency. You know, are there new reviews coming in relatively like recent? And then is there any user generated content attached? And so using a program like Vine, you're going to get more reviews than you would if you were just otherwise to leave it, you know, to people to leave reviews.
Correct.
You know, to Iram's point earlier, they can be positive or negative.
They can.
But I think generally Vine is pretty reliable. If you have a good product and a good page, like Jen said, and people know what they're getting, you get fair reviews out of it. So pretty good, hopefully, on star rating. And then they're coming in recency. You know, they come in over a period of weeks. And some of them have UGC attached. So it is a way to kind of hit those 4 criteria that's important.
And I do want to point out that it's actually not only for you're a new brand selling on Amazon. You could be an established brand that's been selling for years, and you might have a new product. You might have a new product line, and that you want to get going, and you want to start gaining traction on. So you would list that product and then join the Vine program.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great point. And in terms of using it, is it pretty user simple to get into the program? And
yeah, it's so easy. Honestly, you could search this, or I could explain it quickly. You could just log into your Seller Central account. Under the advertising tab, there is a select Vine option. You just pop in the ASIN that you'd want to enroll. And if you don't know what ASIN is, it's Amazon's own identification number, which is their SKU. And you'd pop that in and hit enter. And how many units you want to enter, actually. And then
it goes from the fulfillment centers directly to the Vine reviewers and comes back later.
No work for you as a user involved outside of pressing that button.
So one of the questions that had came up when we were talking to people before this episode was, when I send my product to the Vine reviewers, is there any way to make sure that they get good product or get something different than what's already in Amazon? The answer is no.
No. So they're actually going to pull that inventory from what you've submitted into Amazon's FBA. So whatever you sent over to Amazon's system, they're just going to pull that inventory from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
So you can't just, create your own packages, put a little insert and say, hey, please leave me a nice review. It's going directly from their warehouse to the user.
Okay. Jen, Chris, any questions to throw out before I keep going?
I mean, I do. If they don't.
You have questions for me or for them? Or
No,
just
I have
for
a statement.
What's that?
I have a statement. That
Yeah,
Go for it.
Let's do
Keep going. I mean, I will ask
Yeah.
800 more questions. Go. You run the show, though.
So there can be a con, right? There
Okay.
are times where there'll be a negative review, and some sellers get upset, and they're like, "Well, I gave away free product, and I joined Amazon's reviewer program, and my rating is a total of 3.5." And I think the Amazon customer likes to see 4.5 and above, and that's for you as a seller to really analyze what's wrong here. And do I have the right information? And I'm selling this swatch as, let's say, burgundy, but the consumer says no, it's pink. So this is a chance for you to correct what could be wrong and what you could fix. What are they calling out that on the next batch of products or on the page you can correct right away, before you start growing those sales. So I think it's a great opportunity.
So what do you do then? Okay, I got a 3.5. I got my 30 reviews. I can't go back to Vine necessarily. Like,
No.
do you just you make the changes, address it in the PDPs and in the A+ content, and try to?
Yes.
Is there a way to respond to them and to thank
No,
you for feedback? No.
There used to be a way that you could respond to reviews probably 3 years ago, and Amazon removed that function. So you're not able to respond to them. It's for you as a seller to make those changes and hear what they're saying, hear the consumer.
All right, so I've got a question for Iram.
Sure.
Iram, once you have your 30 reviews, let's say from Vine, and you're off and going, what are the strategies for trying to capture more reviews after, within Amazon's terms of service? What should brands be doing after that to try to get more reviews?
It's so tricky because you have to. Okay, I'm following Amazon's guidelines.
Yeah.
My first recommendation is you'd probably want to add an insert into the packaging saying, "Hey, if you love this, if you loved it, or feel free to leave a review." You cannot ask for a positive review, but you can just use the term saying, "We'd love for you to leave a review." You could do that. You could go, if you have a D2C, you can reach out to your customers in your D2C, send them an email saying, "We're on Amazon. It'd be great if you left us a review there." You just have to follow the terms where you're not specifically asking for a positive review or giving an incentive for a positive review.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think also just follow up, even like automated follow up after purchase.
Yes.
Is a good best practice.
Yes. Sorry, Chris. And then the last part, yes. In Amazon, there is a review system within Amazon where you can, we actually do that at Canopy as well. There are softwares out there, or you can go into Amazon system and set it up where you can ask for a review following a certain amount of time, and even do a follow-up for every customer who places an order.
So again, Vine's jump-starting this thing.
Vine is jump-starting it, yes.
But it's really like, this is just the beginning. You're getting feedback. You can adjust if it's negative. You can adjust if it's positive too. Like, you're just getting feedback. You got to do something with it. But after that, like, you still really got to put the pedal down to get reviews.
Yes.
Anyways.
Yeah.
This is just a supercharge.
Yes.
Jen, I totally cut you off. You're about to say something.
No, it's all good. But yeah, no, it should always be part of your strategy. Definitely. So make sure that that's always in the forefront. And how are you trying to get more reviews?
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I would, if I see 5 products that come up and they're all the same price point, I will go with the person who has the most reviews and the highest rating.
Yep.
So true.
Perfect. I'm going to pause for a second. We're getting a little close to time, and it looks like we did get a question roll in. How long does it take to get the reviews after you've enrolled in Vine?
That is a really great question. So when you submit it in, and then Amazon sends it out to the user and they have to use it, especially like, let's say it's a beauty product or just an item that takes time to just see how it works. I would say on average, it starts within 30 days. So probably takes about 4 to 8 weeks in total for all of them to come in. And I do got to say, let's just say you use the whole lot. You pay the $200 to send in 30 units. Unfortunately, there are times where not all 30 people gave a review. So they might have gotten that free product and you might not get a review at all. But for the most part, I would say 90% of them do leave a review, but it takes about 4 to 8 weeks to come in.
And if you don't get all 30 reviews, does Amazon let you send out to a few more people to try to pump it up?
No,
No.
that's it.
Interesting.
Yes.
But those people probably want to stay in the Vine program too, so you're likely to get reviews.
Yes. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
They want to stay.
Yeah.
They want to get those free products that Vine.
Mhm.
Yes, that is correct.
So what? How I'm totally lost on parent ASIN. Like I get lost in this world. I speak Target, DPCIs, and all their crazy lingo. How I had heard. So let's say that I've got a soda. Okay, I make a beverage, and I can create a 1-pack, a 2-pack, a 3-pack, a 4-pack, a 5-pack, a 6-pack, and I can get 30 reviews on each one of those packs that ultimately roll up to my soda.
Not anymore.
No.
Not anymore. So in April, they actually changed how this works. So in the past, what we'd recommend is you'd create all your packs separately. You'd submit into the Vine program. You'd probably get 20 or 30 reviews for each. Then we'd merge them together. So after those reviews came in, now you're showing 100+ reviews. Amazon removed that feature. So if you merge them together, they're only going to take the SKU with the highest amount of reviews.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah. This has been a change. One of our strategies for you to get reviews quickly has been adjusted last month.
Well, and it just happened, right?
It just happened. It changes all the time.
Yeah. I'm in an e-commerce group, and they were up in arms about Amazon doing this, and
yeah, it's a change.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah.
We had another question come in one more time. Can you repeat the fee structure, the cost associated with this program?
Yeah, so you can for free, you can roll up to 2 units, and it's by parent ASIN. So it's just the parent and the children. I think you could pick, but because it's changed recently, so you could pick between which color or which size, but only 2. That's no cost. Then you could do it. You could pay $75 per parent ASIN for 3 to 10 units, or you can pay $200 and enroll up to 30 units. And it's a one-time fee on a parent level.
Perfect. Thank you for clarifying that one more time. Jen and Chris, we got a couple minutes left. Do you guys have any other questions or tips that you want to point out here?
Just one comment. I mean, I think it's pretty amazing to see the impact reviews have on conversion rate, both the positive and the negative. So you can just see conversion rate increasing as you get more and more reviews with good ratings. But on the other side, if you start to see some 1 stars come in, and the most recent ones are 1 star, and your ratings down to 3.0, it's like an immediate drop in conversion rate. So I think the importance of having an ongoing, always on strategy for reviews and, working with consumers to try to get the reviews is really important.
Yeah, and then just to add to that too, just always look for the patterns in your reviews, positive or negative, and then make sure to highlight the positive always on your listings and then address the negative. So just keep looking for those patterns as you get more and more reviews.
Wonderful. Iram, final thoughts? Any last advice or tip or trick for someone that they need to know here?
If it's in the budget, and you're Amazon FBA and your product's trademarked and you're new to Amazon, you definitely should do the Vine reviews. Definitely do. Kickstart it. Start showing up in those search results and manipulating Amazon's algorithm.
All right, easy enough. Tiana, any other questions online right now? We'll give her just a sec. All right. Well, again, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much for coming on here. I already learned a bunch, again, like always on the show with you guys. And until next time, if you're watching this in the future, Mr. and Mrs. Person, and you have other questions here, reach out to any of us. Iram, the best way to get a hold of you?
You could hit me up on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, perfect.
Jen,
perfect.
We're all on LinkedIn. We're all here. Just hit us up. Awesome. Well, thank you again so much, Jen, Chris, thank you. Next week, we're going to pivot a little bit into more e-com focused stuff. So we had 4 fun weeks of Amazon. We're going to shift a little to e-com specifically with Shopify. And then I'm sure Iram will be back on here again at some point to talk more Amazon.
I'd love to. Thank you.
Cool.
Love it.
All right. Thanks
everybody.
everyone.
Um,
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.